Hi everybody, I'm Radha and this is my first video blog, so bear with me. I have no idea what I'm doing in this arena of words on camera versus words on page. I did write a little draft of my blog here, so I'll probably be referencing it every once in a while. But I want to have a conversation. I want to offer something to think about. And that's what I try to do in all of my blogs and everything, all of my social media posts and everything, is to offer a point of entry for a conversation, which hopefully enables connection, deeper connection with people. So I'm going to look at the camera. Anyway, so again, this is for my blog, and it's going to be a place where I offer both written blogs and video blogs, or little, silly highs, and we can connect through words on a page, but when we see each other face to face, it's just a deeper connection. So, hi. So I'm here to talk about naming today. And what's in a name, and why names anyway. They're just part of the labeling system so that we can understand each other or have a point of reference, or it's a way to connect initially. A name is, hi, I'm Radha, right? Hi, I'm Joe. Hi, it's our first identifier, and it's our first way to connect with the world outside of ourselves. But it's a way for us to also connect from the inside out. But it is this external connection, external label, external identifier. And I was born with a name that didn't fit, as most parents do. My parents gave me a name before I was born, and my mother gave me her first name as my middle name. So there's a lot of power in naming. Even in the Bible, it talks about man having dominion over all things. And that comes from naming it. So when Adam was given permission to name all the animals and name everything, he owned it. He had dominion over it, which that's a whole nother story, and I don't want to get into all of that. But my parents gave me a name. Heather Leah White was my original name. And I do really honor and respect the parents today who are waiting to name their children until they're born, and they feel that baby, when they meet them, then they will know its name. That's a little bit more of co-creation, in my opinion. So I was born with a name that didn't fit. Heather is a beautiful name, and Leah is a beautiful name, and White was my father's name. The Heather part was to be my own. The Leah part created a shared history with my mother and myself. Whereas I, in this body, lived a lot of what she lived in her body. And I believe part of that is from the naming. And White, my father, when I was younger, was never around much. So I never connected with that. I might cry on these things too, because I get really emotional. But the Leah part, the mother part, we have a lot of shared history, a lot of trauma and violation history that's shared, and that she also continued throughout my life, and that I chose to break the cycle in a lot of ways. But again, that's a different blog post, potentially. Actually, that's my memoir. So Heather is a flowering bush, and it's beautiful, and it never fit. Like, first of all, there's the movie where all of the Heathers are bitches. They're evil. But Heather was a very popular name when I was born. And though beautiful, whenever somebody called me that name, I knew I was supposed to answer. I knew I was obliged and obligated to answer. But it never felt right. I would always, it almost like came around behind me and kind of pulled me in. And it also was like it was coming from underwater. So I would hear the name and I knew I was supposed to answer, but it didn't ever feel like it was mine. And then I got married when I was 19, so Heather Leah Huddleston became my name. And my gosh, that's perfect for a writer, especially because the alliteration is gorgeous and it just flows. And I'm a yoga person, so the flow is amazing. And I created a person. I created my own identity under Heather Leah Huddleston. I became a writer. I had over like 400 publications, most of them for other people, but some big ones. I did my TED Talk under Heather Leah Huddleston. I did my Reader's Digest piece is under that. My my short story is under that. So a lot of things to anchor me into that name happened. And again, it still never felt, I've always had, when people called Heather, still, like even until I let it go this past year, I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience. And I'm a being who doesn't like to be owned either. Ownership, doesn't sit well with me. Possession, all of that stuff. So I could feel that level of obligation doesn't sit well with me. Like all of these collective stories that we've created as a society and agree upon. I know the paradigm is shifting, but it's like becoming this uncomfortable. Like a lot of these things are super uncomfortable to the point of unnerving. So anyway, this might be part 1 of the blog because I don't want to keep you much longer. But my purpose is transformation. I thought my purpose was writing, and that's part of my purpose, but my purpose is true transformation. And I received the name Radha. Again, it was given to me. It wasn't my choice. But I received it from my spiritual teacher in an intensive last November. And at the end of our intensive, Coyote gave me a name. He gave us all a name. And he gave it to us at the end of the intensive because he was paying attention and he was seeing what was happening. And in that intensive, there was a lot of meditation. And every single time we meditated, like for hours each day, I merged with God, the universe, the void, the nothingness, where like it's like where everything and nothing is at the same time, where everything is connected, so then everything dissolves. And I was having these amazing experiences, and I was a little afraid of them, quite frankly, because it felt like home. And it felt like I didn't want to come back to this plane or to this reality, because when I was merging with everything, nothing mattered, and everything was meaningful, if that makes sense. So at the end of the intensive, he spoke my name. He said Radha, and I just burst into tears. It still gets me, and because it felt like home. It felt like that place where I was merging. And then it took me a couple months of I had the how dare yous. How dare you think that you could have this name? So who Radha was, what Radha means, I actually met a beautiful Kundalini man the other day, a week ago or so, and he knew who Radha was. And he said, "Oh, Radha, we should worship you." And I was like, no, right? But who Radha was, it's akin to, she was Krishna's consort. So she is another name for Divine Mother, for Goddess, like the Goddess, for Shakti. You know, Shiva and Shakti, Krishna and Radha, Alpha and Omega. So she is another term for the ultimate divine feminine. So I had a lot of imposter syndrome, even though the name felt like home. So I really had to let go of that. Or not let go of that, feel it. I had to feel it to move through it. And that allowed me to let go of it. So I've taken the name, and now every time I see people who know me as Heather, who have known me for a long time, I totally get that it's a transition, and it's a moment, right? Like, it's like, Heather, oh, Radha. Or a lot of times I say Radha instead. Like, when people call me Heather, I've gotten a little snarky, and I'm like, Radha. But I've also announced it on social media and said, if, please don't be offended if I correct you. My name for now. And it feels like my name. Like, when I can, I'm going to legally change my name to Radha. But when you see me, if you know me as Heather, please call me Radha. Because my name not only feels like home, but it gives me something to embody. It makes me be better. It makes me be not better or worse, but it makes me be more fully me. And I'm a bhakta. I'm in devotion to life and to love and to humanity, and I'm here to serve. I'm here to disrupt. I'm here to ruffle feathers, but love everyone through it. I'm here to love. And so when I embody Radha, I can better serve. And it gives me that anchor to be more fully me. So I challenge you to think of your name and to wonder if that's who you really are, or if it's a part of who you are. I love Heather. I love who Heather was, but I also see who she was, right? Like, she was full of fear, she was full of trauma, she was full of the life that I lived to get to here. So I will never disown her. And yet, I choose Radha. So thank you for listening, and I will be in touch in some way or another. Namaste.